together, and we're ready. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. I am Patrick B. Smith, and we're back at the King of Pop, Michael Jackson, and another reaction of a performance by Michael that I have not seen. I've heard a lot about this. Remember the time live at the Soul Train Award where I guess he injured his leg and he really couldn't get up or dance or perform. So instead, he sat in his chair, gave you vocals, and I'm just kind of like, it's so much of different types of layers of Michael Jackson that I don't think people appreciate it because he was so far ahead of his time that it just kind of like erupts in his performances. But I've always loved this song. In fact, remember the time is like my top five Michael Jackson song. It definitely was one I remember the most in my childhood, 1992. And I just remember the video because I was a huge fan of Michael Jackson, even as a kid. And I was a huge fan of Eddie Murphy because of his movies. So when I saw the video and I saw Eddie Murphy, you had to have Saul Coming to America to get that. But that was already something. But Michael was dancing. And the song also has a good flow, a good rhythm. And I've always been here for it. But I waited a long time to check this out. So let's go ahead and get into the video. We'll talk more about the King of Popping In. This is Michael Jackson performing his song, Remember the Time. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you on the other side.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the recipient of the 1996 Soul Train Award, Humanitarian of the Year Award, and probably the greatest entertainer in the world. You know him as the King of Pop, Rock, and Soul, Michael!
Remember my baby? Do you remember, girl? On the phone, you and me. Till dawn, 2, 3. When we fell in love, we were young and innocent then. Do you remember how it all began? It just seemed like heaven, so I did. Do you remember back in the fall? Then we did again. All day long. Do you remember us holding hands? Remember we just oh,
Absolutely, that exactly is why he is the king of pop. First of all, that performance in itself, that he sang so spot on, like the exact record that you kind of thought, was he singing? He was fucking singing. It was just so freaking perfectly done. You couldn't believe it. First of all, Michael's voice, I love that we can kind of hear the kind of more direct tone of opposed to hearing just the dance records and watching him dance a lot. How powerful his voice is. It's like that vibrato, it echoes. That rasp when he's giving you. That is something I don't think a lot of people talk about, but Michael Jackson, that was no joke when it came to saying it. But I loved that he brought the video concept to the stage because he didn't miss a beat. You know, he was still giving you 1-2, you know, even as he's sitting, you know, stood up for a little bit, gave you something. Shout out to the dancers. Let's not overlook that because they were back there getting those paychecks, paying the rent. Dude, shout out to all the dancers. Let's take a minute to acknowledge a little bit what they contributed. I'm here for that, you know, and I don't really know if Michael did any other Soul Train performances. I don't recall, but this one is so legendary, it don't even matter. That is how you understand the difference between what Michael Jackson did and what other people do. And I'm just glad that he was able to embark in such a way that nobody can really replace him. No matter how many people say performances like this or sold this, they won't do what Michael has done. So shout out to the King of Pop. More from him, of course, on my channel. Love him forever. Any requests you'd like me to do by Michael Jackson, let me know. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, be safe.